Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the second episode. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Chicks on Bikes. This is April. Hope everybody's having a nice weekend. And while we wait for our callers to call in, we have a really exciting show set up for today. We're just waiting for our first caller to call in. And while we do that, we're going to go through, Nick and I are going to talk through a ridership study that I found on peopleforbikes.org. And if you don't know about peopleforbikes.org, look them up. They're a cool group. They have a petition you can sign that's just, they're trying to unite 1 million people for bikes. Okay. Bear with me. Let me get the ridership study.
What's the group called again?
Peopleforbikes.org. Oh, and while I find this study in my handy-dandy smartphone, I wanted to let everybody know that we now have a Facebook page. Chicks on Bikes has a Facebook page. There's actually two. What?
Keep talking.
There's actually two Chicks on Bikes on Facebook. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but make sure you look for the one that's community, and you may have to, I don't know how there can be two. Maybe one of the words isn't capitalized.
Wait, if there are two, does that mean that somebody else is the other one?
Yeah. There are two Chicks on Bikes Facebook pages. I'm not sure how that happened, but there are.
Well, you mean like you're not sure how there can be two of the same Facebook page?
Yeah.
But there's two of people with the same name.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Ridership study. In which of the following types of bicycling have you ever participated? Road biking, mountain biking, triathlon, BMX, cyclocross, and transport.
I think I've done everything but maybe cyclocross.
And what is your favorite?
Transport. No, I'm just kidding.
I love running errands.
I don't know.
You don't have
I
one.
can't. Yeah, I'm not into favorites. Not into favorites.
Oh, there's more choices.
Oh.
Organized charity rides and other type of bicycling.
Well, like drunken bicycling.
And the final choice is I don't participate in any type of bicycling. But that's not true.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, what was your answer?
My answer is
First call, by the way.
Our first caller is Letitia Zavala. She's calling in from, I think her cell phone. I'm not sure. She's the mechanic at Flying Pigeon.
So what was your answer?
My answer is road biking, mountain biking. I had a BMX when I was a kid, but I didn't compete. I just rode it around. Transport, cruiser riding, organized charity. I liked your other. I've done the other that Nick has done.
Yeah.
And I want to start touring. But we won't check those off.
Touring, yeah, I want to do that. I was reading a great tour blog last night.
Oh, what is it?
Somebody that Johnny Depp Roadblock passed on, who's like going to Arizona over, I don't know, she stopped in Devil's Valley or Devil's Peak.
Devil's Postpile?
No. What's that?
Devil's Postpile is a national monument. It's in the Sierras. It's a huge, really cool geological formation that looks like square columns of stone. I don't know what you call a square column, but you know what I mean.
I know the word for it, but it's
and
not important.
there's tons of them just in a big pile. It's running along a river, and it's on the backside of Yosemite, right near Mammoth.
Well, would that be on the way to Arizona?
It could be.
here she is.
No, it's not her. Chicken Leather's here, but Letitia isn't here
It's
yet.
not much of a chicks on bikes.
Okay.
Good morning, April.
Good morning, Chicken Leather. How are you?
I'm okay.
We're doing a ridership study. Nick and I are conversing our way through this ridership study that I found on peopleforbikes.org.
Okay.
For how many years have you participated in each of the following: road biking, mountain biking, charity rides?
Yes.
Oh, he's not taking it as seriously as we were taking it. But that's not one of the choices of answer.
Nick,
What?
how many years have you been riding a road bike?
Shoot. I don't know. 10, I'm guessing. I don't know.
Didn't you learn how to ride a bike when you were a kid?
Yeah, but a road bike. You said road bike, right?
Yeah.
You don't ride a road bike as a kid, do you?
I was looking at road biking as kind of like the first, like the gateway
all my life
sport.
then.
You mean like a license to race? You know, James Bond kind of license to race kind of stuff?
I don't know what that reference is.
Well,
I'm sorry.
when you race, you think that all these guys out there in these Giros and stuff, they actually have to get a license, just like you would a car
really?
license, and they qualify, and then you...
Oh, our red phone is ringing. I'm so excited.
Is it the president?
Good morning, Bike Talk. This is April.
Hey, April, this is Letitia.
Hi, Letitia. Good morning. How are
Good morning,
you?
April. Doing great. It's another gorgeous day here in Southern California. I can't complain.
It sure is. It's beautiful outside. Well, thanks for calling in. You want to tell us, Letitia, I was announcing you as one of our wonderful guests for today. So, Letitia, I met Letitia at the Flying Pigeon Bike Shop, which is, I'll let you tell us a little bit about it.
Flying Pigeon is a bike shop that we feature urban bikes, city bikes from England, Germany, and Holland. Also cargo bikes like Christianias. I don't know if we're going to be featuring Niholas soon, but I know we had those a short time ago. And yeah, it's been a blast since I started. Of all days, April Fool's Day. So it's a great shop to be at, and to feature such bikes that are friendly to folks who wish to incorporate the use of a bike for their errands, whatever they may be, short or long distance.
Yeah, I love the slogan on the card. Was it beautiful bikes for everyday people, I think?
Yes.
Wonderful. And what do you do at the shop?
Primarily, for the time being, I'm working as a bike mechanic, and I do believe so far things have been turning out well, unless otherwise. But doubtful. I'm working as a bike mechanic primarily, and secondly, trying to maintain a certain level of organization, and the shop is going through an evolving status of just making the shop a lot more visually pleasant, and there's always products changing, coming through the shop, but that's second. But I know first and foremost is tending to the needs and assessing customers' needs for their bikes. So that's always number one. So
Right. So you're a mechanic, and sounds like you're applying a womanly touch to the shop.
Yes and no. You know, it's cool. I mean, the guys are great to work for, and I've just had wonderful times in the hours that I've put in thus far, which is very little compared to what the guys go through. But they're great guys to work for. I feel very lucky that my commute is not even a half a mile away, and
That's
yeah,
great.
I mean, it's a dream come true in a sense. I mean, I had a crystal ball. If there's such a thing as a crystal ball that exists that says you will be doing this at such and such year, I would have been like, yeah, right, and having a blast. So, anyways, I just hope and look forward to maintaining that level of enthusiasm and happiness working for for the Flying Pigeon, the shop, the people that come in, and the mechanics that I work alongside with, as well as a salesperson that we have. She's great. Car, she's there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I love it. I'm enjoying it. So I'm hoping that this will last.
Yeah, I can hear your
But time will tell.
enthusiasm. It's great. It's really contagious. I like your attitude. So I want to know, how did you start? Where did you learn Where did you learn your mechanic skills? And is this the first shop that you've worked in?
Actually, this is the second shop officially. I did a temporary stint in San Marino, and at that time, as much as I wanted to, it allowed me to get my foot through the door. But I was so stretched between San Marino to Mar Vista to North Hollywood, and then here in Mount Washington in terms of work. I just couldn't bear the being in all directions at the same time in a week's time in terms of working. And so, unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately, at the same time, it allowed me to see what it's like, the functions behind the counter of a full service bike shop.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked it and pondered, would I ever find myself in that position? Could I? And well, time definitely has been telling, and I find myself again in a wonderful bike shop that's very unique and serves not only the surrounding communities, because there are folks who come from as far as San Diego to come see the bikes and
Wow, that's wonderful.
Get to ride and test ride and feel, and folks that are knowledgeable of the bikes, which I've, as time passes, I'm also becoming familiar with the bikes that we feature and sell, and it's awesome. It's fun.
Yeah, it is. I should mention that we had such a lovely buying experience. My mom and I bought a bike from you guys. We got her a new Orange Public
nice.
Bike.
Yeah, those are great bikes.
And now John, one of the other mechanics at the shop, is building a dream bike for me. So it's been a really positive experience.
Oh yeah, that one is. Yes, that one is like most bikes. I see it as a birthing process taking place.
Right, exactly.
It's like a new baby born.
Yeah.
I'd like to believe that the frame builders out there that build each frame, once they send off their babies, it's blessed with a soul.
Yeah.
It's coming. It's becoming. It's really coming together nicely. So I look forward to seeing you. Hopefully, I'm there that day, or not out to lunch to see you, test ride it.
Yeah.
Once it comes together. But going back to working at bike shops, those are the two that I can claim, and where I've learned.
Great.
It starts way back in the day in a garage at my mom's house. And I recall my cousins and my brothers opening up the bottom bracket of a Schwinn bicycle.
Wow.
And all the ball bearings falling all over the place.
Uh-huh.
So, I guess that's where the training begins of peeling your eyes for, recovering all the ball bearings possible, the bottom bracket together. And then I must have been 9, 10, 11 years old, but never really hands-on. And but at least visually, that's a beginning marker for me. And then in 2007, I believe it was 2007, I went to United Bicycle Institute and took a 2-week chromoly steel brazing class, and that was that was a blast. I tell you, it's in my interpretation as well as my perspective. Still, it's amazing to see lugs and tubes come together and form a bicycle that is not only, to me, functioning art, but you can ride it and it just does not sit on the wall.
Right.
There's something, again, it's my perspective, but it's something that I really appreciate and enjoy, that, people take to the bicycle and, choose to ride it in the rain if they so choose, or in the sunshine that we seem to have plenty here in Southern California. And then, insofar as the mechanics go, that started in the spring spring into summer of 2006. I'm sure I'd like to believe that most folks who know the Bike Oven, that was started and founded by Joseph Bray Ali, and he's been a tremendous asset and a contributor to the community, and he's just a gifted person with some wonderful ideas, and is not afraid to grab it by the horns and run with it.
Yes.
And it's a good example to identify. And at the same time, if not without the folks who listen and help alongside, it's wonderful to see the community come together. It's a great thing.
Yeah.
It's a great thing. So, what else can I help you with?
I wanted you to talk a little bit about the rides that go out of the shop for a sec.
Yes, we have at the shop two rides, two rides that I believe are consistent. The first one is the Get Some Dim Sum ride, and that happens, I believe it's the third Sunday of every month. I think that's the one. And then there's a spoken art ride that also starts from the shop, and I think that's the second. I think that's the second Saturday of the month. And then there's also the brewery ride, and that's on the first Saturday of every month.
Okay.
So actually, it's officially two during the day, but spoken art is actually starts in the evenings, and I believe the meetup is 6:30 p.m. And so the brewery ride is the first Saturday of the month, actually. Then spoken art ride is the second Saturday, and then third is the Get Some Dim Sum ride. Unfortunately, I must, I'll be honest, I have not been able to partake of the brewery or the Get Some Dim Sum ride. I'm usually left behind because I'm working on folks, I'm either building new bikes fresh out of the box, or I'm working on the people's bikes that are needing attention, or mechanic fixing people's bikes. So
okay.
It's one or the other, but it's always great to meet the folks. They come into the shop and they see what we have, and the interaction has been great thus far, and that's other than just being a bike shop, it's nice to have these rides that involve the community.
Mm-hmm. And would you say that all levels of riders are present? I know you said you don't go on them, but you see them come through the shop, or you don't go on them yet.
I would be. I place myself in their shoes, be it CD shoes, Shimano shoes, or just ordinary shoes. If I were on the other side of the counter and going for a ride, shoot, I'd just be in a pleasant mode to be going on this ride. But I'm just as happy, with working alongside with John, or working on a bike on the stand. It's been a pleasant mode for every bike gathering that I've seen for these rides. It's been great.
Wonderful. Well, we have to wrap up in a few minutes, but Chicken Mother has a question for you, so I'm going to pass over the phone. Hang on.
Okay.
I don't know if you touched on it, but you took a class in welding. Can you tell me how learning how to build a bike from like the bottom up, so to speak, from just like tubes and other, what we would consider scrap metal or from the elements have helped you to be a better repair person?
For me, it started with not so much in the. It doesn't actually start with the building the bike frame together. A habit of mine, which I'm refining as time goes on, is an overview of the bike as one wipes it down, gives it a cleaning. It gives you a better insight, a good close-up overview before actually starting on the bike. But insofar as building it from scratch, I think it's, in my opinion, important to draw it out on a drafting table, because it helps you establish and form what kind of riding feel one wants. And it's either nimble or fast or leisure. And depending on the angle and or the degree of the angle of the front fork as well as the seat tube, the more relaxed it is in terms of angle placement, the more leisure of a ride, the more slower of a response the bike will have. The sharper the angle is, the more upright the fork is, as well as the seat tube, you will have a very fast, responsive bike. Yeah.
So interesting. I never, listening to you talk it through, it makes sense to me, but I never really thought about that. Sure. That's what they call the geometry, right?
Yes, thank you. Yes, you nailed it on the head, thank you. Yes, so it plays a very, that's one of the critical parts of the diamond frame that plays a very critical part. And, the bicycles that we have at the shop, again, those geometrical angles play a very important part on having that uprightedness and not so much as a lean forward as we are accustomed to in the bikes that are plenty here in the States, because we're so geared to let's go fast, let's go for it, climbing up hills, if we need to. We're equipped for that, we're geared for that. And I'm ever so grateful to be in a shop where we feature these bikes where it's more of a relaxed mode and you're not leaning up against your wrists or your hands are taking so much of the pressure, as well as the seating position, and you get to take in more of your surroundings on the city bikes that we feature at the shop. So
right.
Yeah, insofar as a frame builder, my preference, and I believe my preference will always be the 4130 chromoly steel. There's that saying that steel is real. And indeed it is, but it is the workhorse of metals that's out there. But there are other fine quality metals, such as Reynolds. They have a variety of tubes. Oh my gosh, Ishiwata. I'm trying to think of other metals that I've been exposed to and have had the pleasure of seeing them being built visually at UBI. But there's many types of metals. There's titanium, there's aluminum, there's carbon, but it's a matter of preference as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
great.
But 4130 for me, folks.
Wonderful. Well, maybe we'll have you on another day to go deeper into that topic, because you've got a lot of knowledge.
Yeah.
We actually have to wrap up because we have another caller calling in, at 10:30. So I wanted to
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, and I'm sure
it's
I'll
my
see
pleasure.
you soon.
It's our pleasure. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for featuring my comments, and I get to promote Flying Pigeon, and hope to see some more folks come in and test ride what we have at the shop. Thank you so much. If I may quickly announce, we are at 3714 North Figueroa Street, Los Angeles, California, 90065, and our phone number at the office is 213-909-8986. If not, flyingpigeon-la.com. Thank you so much, April.
Thank you so much. You're wonderful. Have a great day.
Have a great weekend. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi, okay, we're back. So we're waiting for our second caller to call in, and I'll make a quick announcement about...
You're listening to Bike Talk.
Good morning, Bike Talk. This is April.
Oh, April, it's Peter Zeitlin. I was told to call you at 11:30. I was busy for a while, but I just got through.
Oh, no. You're calling us at 10:30. This is perfect.
Oh, well, 1:30 our time in Boston.
Oh, wonderful. All right. Well, good morning, Peter, and thank you for calling. I was just going to make an announcement of who our next guest was, and that's you. So I just wanted to introduce the author of a wonderful book we're going to talk about for the next maybe half hour, Peter Zeitlin, and he wrote a great book called Around the World on Two Wheels, Annie Londonderry's Extraordinary Ride. And I just got the book, so I've started reading it, and I absolutely love it. So we'll, I guess, let you, my first question for you, just, you want to share a little bit about the book and how you, I know you're a relative, and I won't spoil that, but introduce yourself, please, to everyone, and just tell us where the idea came from.
All right. Well, I'm an avid cyclist myself, and in the early 1990s, received a letter from a complete stranger who was doing some research about a woman who he said had ridden around the world on a bicycle in the 1890s, and he believed, based on some research he had done, that my family might be related to her. This was completely out of the blue. We had no idea who this woman was, never heard of her, asked around. None of my older relatives had ever heard of her. She seemed to have fallen into a black hole somewhere. And he sent me a few newspaper clippings that he had found about her, and from the information in his letter, it was clear he'd found the right family, but it was pretty puzzling to me why no one in our family would have heard about a family member who'd done such a remarkable thing. But I put it aside for well over 10 years, and then one day sort of got bitten by the bug and decided to see if I could figure out who she was and, find out more about her story, because it certainly sounded intriguing. And that put me on a path for 4 years of what became fairly obsessive research to track her all over the world. Fortunately for me, one of her great talents was a knack for self-promotion. She was a brilliant publicist, probably a better publicist than she was a cyclist. So she left a trail of newspaper coverage about her travels, strewn all the way across North America, Europe, parts of Asia, the Far East, and that's largely how I was able to piece her story together, because despite my efforts, no diary ever turned up.
Okay.
And that's the basics of it, of how I got onto the story anyway.
Okay. And did you see a book immediately when you started to do research, or was it more of a personal?
Well, you
journey?
never know if you have a book until you've accumulated enough material to make it, to justify it. I certainly didn't know that at the outset. I really had no idea what I would find, where the trail would lead. Part of my research involved trying to track down other long-lost relatives of my own who might know something about her. And for that reason, one of the key pieces of information that I was after at the very beginning was to figure out whether Annie, the cyclist, had any children, because if she had had children and they had had children, there might still be somebody alive today, I figured, that either knew her or knew about her. And for nearly a year, with the help of a professional genealogist, I tried to track down the answer to that question. Now, it turned out fairly early on from some of the newspaper accounts, we learned that at the time that she left Boston to go around the world by bicycle by herself, she was married and had 3 children under the age of 6.
Right, which was amazing that she could leave them during that era, and she had the support of her husband to go on.
Absolutely. I mean, in fact, for I think a woman of any era, this would be an eyebrow raiser, especially with kids of such a tender age. It was certainly unheard of in her time. But while that information at one level was a little disturbing, you sort of wonder, well, how could she just literally disappear from the lives of these kids for 15 months to take a jaunt around the world on a bicycle? On the other hand, for me as a researcher, it was encouraging, because if those children had children, I thought, maybe that would be the key that would sort of unlock this mystery. Mm-hmm. And so after about 8 or 9 months, I did find Annie's only grandchild still alive, living outside of New York City, and she had known her grandmother. She was my distant cousin. She had a lot of information, and it really sort of brought 2 branches of our family back together too.
Wow, that's wonderful.
But I was able to tell her almost as much about her grandmother's trip as she was able to tell me about her grandmother, because she really didn't know. She knew about it. It was something her grandmother spoke about all her life with great pride, but she did not know a lot of the details about the trip. And I, at that point, had learned a lot about it. So it was, I have to say, you don't know you have a book, because I said, until you've got certain massive material. But as I tried to track her around the world and realized she was leaving a trail, a very rich trail of contemporary newspaper clippings, I began to get encouraged about the idea that this, could be a book. I mean, it started as an article for Bicycling Magazine, and then grew from there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe you could talk a little bit about some of these antics. I know she was well, I love how the journey started, and I won't spoil
Right.
it.
Well, ostensibly how it started, and I say ostensibly because one of the intriguing things about pursuing this story was how difficult it was to sort out fact from fiction, in part because Annie herself was a great fictionalizer of her own life story.
Right.
And ostensibly the trip began, was the impetus for it was a wager between two wealthy Boston men who were debating the question of women's equality, which was at the time a subject very much in the public debate. And since only a man had previously ridden a bike around the world,
right.
That was Thomas Stevens in the 1880s, the story goes that these two men wagered whether a woman could undertake such a feat, and somehow plucked from obscurity was this young mother from Boston to try and accomplish the task. And there were certain conditions attached. She had to do the trip in 15 months. She had to begin without a penny in her pocket and earn her way around the world. And that's important because, at a time when women's equality, women's rights were being fervently debated, that really turned this journey not only into a test of a woman's physical endurance, but of a woman's ability to take care of herself or fend for herself alone in the world. So she had to be quite entrepreneurial, as well as physically accomplished. So that was ostensibly the origin of the trip. I don't want to ruin the end, what I ultimately concluded about that for people who might read the book. But so it ostensibly started as a wager. And, if it has a familiar ring to it, you can imagine that it was only 15 years before that Jules Verne had written Around the World in 80 Days, which sort of captured the public imagination. That was fiction, of course, but this was a time when round-the-world travel really captivated the public imagination because it was becoming more accessible to more people as transportation improved and as communications technology improved. The world was becoming a smaller place, and it was sort of part of Annie's genius to kind of seize on a lot of these powerful social trends of her time. The women's rights movement, public interest in international travel, for example. So she really kind of knew, for a woman who was interested in fame and fortune, which she was, she really knew how to kind of, play all the right notes for a public, to make her enterprise interesting to the public.
Do you think that her interest for fame and fortune preceded the journey, or did it evolve out of the journey?
Oh, I think it very much preceded it, and although it's interesting, some people who've read the book even will refer to her, to Annie, as a suffragist, but she really was not a suffragist, and she was not active in the women's movement of her era.
Right.
I don't think she was out to make a statement about women as much as she was out to, first of all, get out from under, as she said, get her children out from under her apron. She really wasn't cut out for motherhood, and I think she was frankly looking for an escape from the circumstances of her life. So she didn't, set out to score points for women. What she really did was she kind of seized on the women's movement for her own purposes. She kind of knew she could ride those wheels, so to speak, and it would advance her purpose. But I think she was just, you always wonder what is it about certain people out of the millions of us that will cause one person to sort of be able to step forward and then step outside the norms of the time in such a dramatic way. And maybe part of it's genetics, part of it's environmental, but she had a tremendous amount of nerve, or chutzpah, the Yiddish word.
Absolutely.
She had just a tremendous amount of chutzpah especially for a woman of her time. And I think the trip was really more about, trying to improve her material circumstances, way to sort of earn some money.
And she did earn a lot of money from this.
Well, yeah, she did earn money, and we haven't touched on this yet. But one of the things that she was quite savvy about was advertising, and she was the first, as far as I could tell, only she and Annie Oakley, who was a contemporary of hers, made some money parlaying their sort of athletic prowess into endorsements. Annie Oakley, for example, did ads for the same bicycle company that my Aunt Annie did, which was the Sterling Bicycle Company. But my Annie also found a very clever way to make money as she rode, which was to sell or essentially rent parts of her body and her bicycle for the purpose of allowing advertisers to stitch small advertisements onto her clothing or placards onto her bike. So she was a real, among other things, a real pioneer of sports-related marketing for women. One of the first women to do it, and it was one of the ways that she earned money as she traveled. And there are descriptions of her arriving in towns like Buffalo, New York, or Tucson, Arizona, literally covered from head to toe with advertising banners for products ranging from bicycle wheels to perfume. So she was quite creative and quite outlandish. I mean, she would arrive in town this way, carrying all these banners. Later in her trip, wearing men's clothing, and also later in her trip, riding a man's bicycle. So she was quite a spectacle, and I think that's what she was all about. She was all about making a spectacle out of herself.
Mm-hmm. And didn't she? Was she known to, I won't say fabricate
you can
images?
say that. I mean, why not say that? Because, I mean, as I said, as I went about pursuing her story, at the beginning, I simply accepted what this fellow who had written us a letter said, which was that, some people believe she's the first woman to ride a bicycle around the world, and I started to try and piece together this journey and found that parts of it weren't really adding up. So, at first that was a little disturbing, but when I kind of learned more about her character, her outrageous character, and her willingness to sort of almost do and say anything, often in a very impromptu way, I began to sort of have a newfound fascination with who she was, and she wasn't just somebody with strong legs to pedal a bicycle. She was quite creative and inventive in her enterprise, and she absolutely made up stories as she went. I mean, often went to going so far as to tell completely different stories to two reporters in the same city on the same day. Apparently not even caring whether she was putting together a single coherent narrative of her own travels. Mainly because I think she's number one. Yes, I think she wanted to please her listeners or the readers. She knew that reporters were very eager for good copy, and so she was absolutely without qualm about making up all kinds of stories about her life being threatened by bandits, for example. Now that was quite possible, but as I pieced it together, I came to conclude that many of her stories were just fanciful. Mm-hmm. She was always sort of hanging from a bridge, grabbing onto her bicycle as a train roared overhead, having narrowly escaped, the death on her bicycle. So this was kind of the way she operated, and so, I ultimately came to the conclusion that although, she probably didn't deserve credit for literally riding around the world, she still did ride several thousand miles over 15 months, fended for herself alone, clearly became a very skillful and strong rider, and I know that by reading accounts of male cyclists who rode portions of the journey with her. Sometimes she would be accompanied by members of bicycle clubs in Europe or or in the United States. But she made a trip around the world. She rode her bicycle a lot, but I ultimately had to conclude that, would we, by any standard, say she literally rode around the world, even making allowances for ocean passage? Probably not. But she was more of a P.T. Barnum type character.
Yeah, absolutely. I think her entertainment value and her approach to the whole ride is something we could all learn from as a really nice approach to living.
Well, I think in retrospect, it's kind of, it becomes sort of this charming rogue. I speak to groups about her trip, and you get very interesting reactions. I mean, very often if I speak to a group of older women, they can't even get past the fact that she would leave her children for 15 months, leave her husband and children behind for 15 months, and in fact, her kids, I would say, paid a significant emotional price for their mother's abrupt absence and her sort of detachment, the kind of detachment that would allow her to do that. So she wasn't, as I say in the book, she did some heroic things in certain ways, but she didn't always act heroically. And, I think we sometimes expect our icons or our heroes to be pure, and uncomplicated. But most of us live with certain ambiguities and tensions and contradictions. And she was a bundle of them.
So what role does Annie play in your family now? Is this story part of your living family life, or how does it?
That's an interesting question. She became a very big part of my own life. I write in the book that right around the time I started researching her, I was diagnosed with a serious illness, which I'm fine now, but I sort of took to my own bicycle as a way after surgery to get my strength back, and since I was so immersed in the story and the writing of the book, I sort of found she was kind of on the back seat of a tandem, an invisible tandem, riding with me, so to speak. I really did kind of feel, I don't mean to be too metaphysical about this, but she really sort of assumed this presence in my life, and I've collected all kinds of artifacts of her life, which I found from her granddaughter, which decorate my office and so forth. My wife and my kids live this with me as well. My kids were younger, and as kids will do, they would roll their eyes whenever the subject came up again because they were tired of hearing me obsess about it. And the nice thing is that I've kept up contact with her granddaughter, who, as I said, is now, in her late 70s, and that was one of the more emotional pieces of this, because Mary, her name is Mary, she, for decades, had felt that it was her responsibility to somehow bring her grandmother's accomplishment to light, as her only direct living descendant. I'm an indirect descendant. She was my great-grandfather's sister. But Mary, when I finally found her and wrote to her, and she called me, I think we both just had, chills went up and down our spines, and she was so excited that finally someone had found this. She was doubly cheered that I was a distant relative. So she was, for her, it was really important and meaningful that someone had come along, late in her life to tell her grandmother's story, because she loved her grandmother. Annie, her grandmother, lived until 1947, and Mary was 16 when Annie died, so she knew her quite well. And, so for me, that was really nice, to be able to, in a sense, do this for a distant relative I had never met.
Sure, and I obviously honor her, but to contribute something so huge to your family, that's great. It's really
and I think that on the one hand you could think, well, what is this story? What does it matter outside of my immediate family, knowing that we had a relative who had found her 15 minutes of fame in the 1890s? But I do think that Annie's story, with all of its complexity and all of her own fabrications about it, still stands as a really informative chapter about women's history in this country, and what I think a lot of people don't know, and I certainly didn't know until I started researching it, how important the bicycle was to women's liberation and to the suffrage movement. Women were taking to bicycles by the millions in the 1890s,
right.
challenging and upending a lot of social expectations about female propriety along the way. It changed the way women dressed because they had to find new practical clothes for riding this new machine. And there's a lot of testimony from people far more famous than Annie, such as Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton, some of the real pioneers of the women's movement, testifying to the impact of the bicycle on the way women thought of themselves, on the physical freedom that it gave them. And in a sense, women literally, in a sense, rode bicycles to freedom in a way. It was a very important symbol of the women's suffrage movement. So, Annie came in many ways to epitomize that. I mean, her story really, in a microcosm, is the story of a lot of women of her time. And that's where I think the significance of it lies.
I couldn't agree with you more. I love that, the quote by Susan B. Anthony. Yeah, the bicycle has done more to emancipate a woman than anything else in history.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And and I think there were a lot of women. Look, a lot of people followed Annie's trip through the newspapers. I mean, she was kind of like the reality television stars of her day, obviously before television. But people followed her, through the newspapers, and she was no doubt an inspiration to a lot of women. And I think she realized that, and she took advantage of it. But at the end of the day, who knows how many women, read about her, saw her, crossed her path, and became inspired by what she was doing. I mean, I certainly know that's happened now after the book came out, and I hear from people. I've heard from a woman on Facebook who's riding her bicycle around the world today, and just feel so connected, to this woman from more than a century ago. We all stand on someone's shoulders, I guess.
Sure. Well, you're very lucky to have such a charismatic, powerful woman in your genealogies. We have to wrap up soon. I wanted to see if there's anything else you wanted to talk about or mention.
No, well, I don't know. I just want to maybe mention a contemporary example of, finding empowerment on bikes. I mentioned this to your producer. I think that I have a neighbor here whose husband was killed on 9/11, and she began riding her bicycle from Ground Zero to Boston on the anniversary of 9/11 to commemorate that.
Wow.
Basically reversing the course her husband flew. And a couple of years, several years ago, she learned about the plight of women in Afghanistan, who she felt, with my friend Susan, she felt so lucky to have the kind of support systems in place and the financial support of, 9/11 Victims Fund and all that. And she realized that there were tens of thousands of women in Afghanistan who were also victims of terrorism and war. And she started a foundation called Beyond the 11th to support women's programs in Afghanistan, teaching women how to be entrepreneurial, teaching them, basic health and hygiene, and building community centers so they could come and learn these things. And, because women in Afghanistan who are widowed have no rights. They lose the rights to property. They lose the rights to children. So if people want to, I would urge people to check out beyondthe11th.org. On the 10th anniversary of 9/11, Susan and I and about 40 other riders are going to go pedal from Ground Zero back to Boston to raise money for Beyond the 11th. And it's, for Susan, I think it's, the bicycle, here again, is an example of the bicycle as an implement of power. And I think for Susan, it's been both therapeutic and it's so important to have this in her life. On 9/11, by the way, she was pregnant with her third child. I mean, this is, a woman who suffered significantly and then pivoted in the most remarkable way to direct her compassion outward, to the country where the plot that killed her husband was hatched,
Mm-hmm.
So, I often think of Susan when I think of Annie, because I think of women finding, both their solace, their independence, and, certain sense of empowerment on
Sure.
the bike. So I just want to connect that up that way and give a little plug to Susan. She's an amazing woman.
We'll have to follow that journey. Oh, right. One last question, and then we're going to let you go. Is there a movie planned on this amazing journey?
Well, I can tell you that there's a documentary that's been in the works for several years. I'm hoping it's being done by, not by me, but by a filmmaker in Washington. I'm hoping it'll be done by the end of this year. And I also know that a screenwriter from the New York area has written a screenplay based on my book. This would be, a fictionalized version.
Sure.
But, it's always a million-mile journey from a book to a movie. I'm not holding my breath, but, a couple of things are percolating.
Okay, great. Well, we'll look out for it. Sounds
Okay,
wonderful.
April.
It was really nice to talk to you and share your story. Thanks for calling in. And
Thank you, April.
We'll talk to you again in the future, hopefully.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very
Have
much.
a nice weekend.
Take care. Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That was a wonderful second caller.
Wow.
Pretty amazing story, huh? For him to find that out and then be able to find all that information and make a book out of it.
I think it's amazing that people research that well. Everybody forgets what kind of an asset a library is, but it seems that he actually was able to get that from some more valuable first-person accounts, which are always kind of forgotten about until you go back and look at archives or recorded information. It's fantastic to see things like that. I know that people like, some of the great documentaries have been based on just accounts or letters or things of that sort, where you see the first person in the thralls of history and how they interact, the individual interacts on that level. Mm-hmm. It tends to give it a human face to history.
Oh, there's our next caller.
It's Bike Talk here on Kill Radio and KPFK, the webcast.
Good morning, Bike Talk. This is Chicks on Bikes. April, how can I help you?
This is Larissa.
Hi, Larissa. Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I haven't announced your project yet. We just hung up our last caller. So Larissa is a student at UCLA, and she is doing this really cool project called Bike Beats Car. I'll let you explain it.
Sure. So Bike Beats Car is a social media campaign aimed at trying to get people to bike to work. So basically, it's going on through our website right now at bikebeatscar.com. It started up on the 16th at the beginning of Bike Week, and it's going on all the way until Tuesday, and we're giving out prizes for people to essentially log 2 ways each of their commute by bike and 2 ways each by car. So we're having them time their bike commutes and time their car commutes to show them that biking can actually be faster than driving for urban commutes of 7 miles or less.
Wonderful.
And, yeah.
So how's it going?
It's going really well. We've more than doubled our registration over the past week, and we've gotten a really good turnout. It seems like a lot of people really are saving time on their commutes, and I've gotten some comments and some discussion going on both on Facebook and Twitter about people sharing their stories and people saying that they really are able to bike more because they're forced to record their commutes and see how much time they're actually saving compared to other people. So.
And sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, what were you going to ask?
Where did the idea come from?
Well, the idea was it's sort of twofold. More directly, this is something that I came up with through my internships with a team of 2 other interns. I'm interning currently at 1X, which is an independent ad agency, and we're all UCLA students. I'm in a 3rd-year undergrad, and essentially I was told that I had to come up with this socially positive media campaign, and I could do whatever I wanted. And I've always been really passionate about biking, so the original inspiration was sort of mine because I thought back to my internship the previous summer. I was interning at a record label in Santa Monica, and I would go 3.5 miles, and I would bike there, and it would take me, about 20 minutes. And what I found was a few times I actually got rides from my friends, and it would always take like 45 minutes, maybe more. Depending on the size, it would take like 45 minutes to an hour to get home because of all that traffic. And I would just bike past all these cars, and I thought, a lot of people, they have bikes, they have cars, so they just don't add the two together. They don't realize they can actually use it for more than just recreational riding on the weekends. So I thought this would be really cool to do, and the other interns were sort of on board for it. So it's sort of been a collaborative project with all of us to sort of put this whole thing together and make it work in a fairly short time span.
Great. Well, I know I've recently realized commuting from, it's like a 4-mile ride. I realized this. I kind of always had this feeling living in Los Angeles that these short trips take so much longer, especially during typical commute times. But yeah, I just figured this out myself. It's very frustrating if you're in the car.
Definitely.
What do you hope to do with Bike Beats Car in the future? Will it happen again?
Well, I would definitely like to. We've had, like I said, a really good discussion on our Facebook and Twitter, and I really, really enjoyed getting more involved with the bike community. Before, I'm a very active biker. I bike at least 10 hours a week, usually more. So I definitely enjoy doing that, and I will continue to post updates occasionally when I find the time, although I'm sure not quite as often as I have been during the challenge itself. But I would also love to, repeat it next year if I can find sponsors. The reason I was able to do this time was obviously through the help and through the funding of 1X. They've been very generous, but if I'm able to find sponsors to help out with prizes and stuff like that again, then I would love to do it next year for Bike Month as well.
Great. So, do you live in West LA?
Yes, I do. I live around Westwood.
And what is it like riding your bike in West LA?
It's enjoyable. I mean, minus the fact that the streets are pretty much like full of craters and giant cracks. But
Right.
as long as you know where they are and you're sure to avoid them, it's pretty enjoyable. I definitely feel like, as a student here, and I think this is true of a lot of UCLA students, you don't really get to see and explore the city until you have a car, because that's sort of the kind of place that LA is. And me not having one, having my bike sort of allowed me to actually explore the city, but in a hands-on way. It's very different when you're in your car and your windows are closed and you're just like going from point A to point B versus when you're actually immersed in the environment around you and you're seeing like not only where you're going to, but everything along the way and appreciating the weather. And, it's very calming, really. And, that's why I'm really, really encouraging more and more people to do it, because it's been so rewarding for me, and I want to share that.
Yeah, I've always said it's my most favorite lens through which to view the world. So you're a UCLA student.
Yep.
And you're graduating soon.
Mm-hmm.
Did you grow up here?
I didn't, no. I grew up in the Bay Area, in East Bay.
Okay.
So, and then I came here. So, again, that's sort of why the bike was sort of my way to explore the city, because the first time I went to LA, I was at colleges, like, thinking about where I wanted to go. And so it was all very new to me. And I really liked exploring it so far, and I hope to stick around for a while.
Okay. I was going to ask you I lived in the Bay Area, too. I was going to ask you to compare the last cycling community to this one. What are your thoughts about the differences in cycling in the Bay Area versus Southern California?
I'm not entirely immersed in the cycling community up in NorCal, but I do know that I think it's pretty strong up there. I know, for example, Critical Mass got started in San Francisco, and definitely where I live, back home in the East Bay, it's a lot easier to bike around just because, for one thing, the roads are more put together, and we have a trail that literally lines the freeway and goes for, I think, at least 20 miles, if not more. There's just really good connected trail systems that pretty much follow along the lines of the rapid transit up there. And I wish we had that in LA, and I think that's what they're at least attempting to come close to by at least starting to build more bike lanes with the LA Bike Plan. So that would be nice to see. But the cycling community here, I hadn't realized until I started this project how big it was. If you actually look, on the internet and you just look around you, they're everywhere. There's constantly these organized rides going on through Midnight Rodaz or LAAVC or just everywhere. As long as you know where to look for them.
Do you have a favorite ride you want to plug while you're on the phone? Or on the radio, excuse me.
The first one I tried was actually last night at Critical Mass, and I thought that was really fun. I don't know how many people were there, but it felt like thousands. I could not see where they ended, either in front of me or behind me, and it was just kind of awesome being able to ride on Wilshire completely just bikes. No cars. It was just astonishing to me. I was like, crap, because when I try to bike there with regular traffic, it's like I'm afraid that I'm gonna get hit by some people sometimes. But I would encourage that. I mean, really, any of these massive rides, especially Critical Mass or any others, it really makes you feel more connected to others who are around you, and it's very rewarding. And it's just fun, with people where you might have nothing in common except for the bike that you're riding on, which tends to be a lot more in common than you thought it would be.
How did you feel about the police presence last night?
I thought they were good. I mean, I'm supportive of what they do. My other job actually entails doing parking lot patrols as a CSO for UCPD, and I do that on the bike too. So I definitely support what they do.
Okay.
I know it can be really hard, but
sure.
Some people say it's made it more tame, but I think it's also made it more safe. That many people, especially given the amount of young people there, I think that it's good that they're there to keep things under control, make sure nobody gets hurt.
So you felt safe?
Yeah, I did, because they were there, because they're lining the side of the street, on our left, pretty much the entire way. There were the bike cops and the ones on the motorcycles, and they would, use their speakers to yell at people if they went from the sidewalk or whatnot. But they seemed like they were pretty friendly and cool about it. I had a conversation with a few of them, and they're pretty supportive.
Maybe we have some listeners who don't know. Can you tell us what the route was?
The route?
Yes.
Critical Mass, as I'm sure a lot of people know, is, thousands of LA riders that just meet from wherever, and they meet at the last Friday of every month at Wilshire and Western. And their route is not the same every time. I've been told it changes a little bit every time they do it, but they generally end at at Western and Sunset. So it seems like for us, at least, we took sort of a western route. We sort of looped around. We went south and then west, and then we ended up all the way in Santa Monica and took a break, and headed back east again. So, I was actually able to veer off to Westwood before the ride ended at midnight, because I know for some people, at least for me, I didn't want to be 12 miles away from home at midnight, but it was still, I was able to ride for them for 3 hours, and I met a lot of really cool people. So I would encourage that to a lot of people. They cover a lot of ground, so you're able to sort of join in as long as you start with them, because, again, they don't follow the same route.
Great. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to add about Bike Beats Car? Well, maybe you could tell us, so if people want to sign up, that you want to talk about the website and how it works, and share a little bit about the prizes? Yeah,
definitely. So there's definitely still time to sign up. Just because it's running on Tuesday doesn't mean people should be discouraged. Basically, we are giving out a few bigger prizes, including we're giving out 3 sets of bike racks and panniers for people who don't have them, and we're also giving a $150 value full bike overhaul from Pigeon LA. And
nice. Great.
So, they're just, cleaning the entire bicycle, doing full tune-up, just the entire works, basically pimping out your bike. So
did
as
you
long
say
as you
that
go
was
online,
the Pigeon?
Yeah, it's Pigeon bicycles. Yeah.
Wonderful. Go Pigeon.
Yep. They're
Flying Pigeon, right?
Yes, Flying Pigeon.
Right, the Flying Pigeon.
Yep. Check them out. So we're giving out that, and basically you just need to log your commutes, and we're also judging our prizes based on our discussion on Facebook. We've been asking questions, posting news updates, and we've had a lot of our users, posting and sharing stories. So if anyone's interested, I highly encourage it. Start today, tomorrow, do it soon, and you might just win a prize. And talk to us. We'd love to hear from you.
And how do they win? Is it just a random drawing, or?
No, we're doing it. We're doing sort of a holistic judgment. So it's one based on the number of commutes they log.
Okay.
And the other thing is their social outreach, which determines like one by the referrals that they have from other friends, see if they're spreading the word too.
Nice.
And two, whether they're participating on Facebook and Twitter and discussing these bike-related issues.
And how many participants do you have?
We're going really fast. I know we've definitely topped over 50 so far. But as of now, I'm not entirely sure where our numbers stand. But that's where we were earlier this week. So I expect us to keep growing, and I hope people continue to register because it's a fun thing. It's been really fun for me and for the people involved so far.
Great. Someone's passing me a note in the studio here. We have a question. We want to know, what can you fix on a bike?
What can I personally fix?
Yes.
I can fix when the chain gets stuck.
When your chain falls off?
When the chain falls off. I put on the lights onto my bike. I know how to fix the brake theory, although I've never actually done it.
Cool.
I think I'm pretty intuitive about figuring stuff out, but I would definitely take it to a bike shop if there was anything serious that needed to be done.
Now, there's a lot of resources for people in LA if they want to learn how to fix their own bike.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll end up doing that. I just got my free tune-up from UCLA's Bike to Campus Week, so I'm pretty set with my bike right now, but yeah, I would definitely go the cheap route because I want to learn how. Because it's one of those things that once you have the skills, it sort of sets you up for life.
We have another question from. I'm going to relay. Hang on.
Okay. About the infrastructure on campus.
Oh. Tell me your title for this bike patrol you do for school. What is it?
I'm a CSO. It's a community service officer.
Okay, so in this context, as your CSO, can you tell us what you do, and are you familiar with the infrastructure around school and kind of how safe it is, or how it looks, or how it is to ride around school?
Yeah, actually, all CSOs are required to memorize the map of Westwood. So, everything. I know every building, as useless as, or any buildings that I've, never even gone to, I know what they are. And I know all the parking lots. So CSOs in general are here they're sort of like the eyes and ears of the UCPD. Mm-hmm. So the idea is, if you see sort of crime, we're there to overcome the bystander effect. And a lot of people do sort of the walking night escorts, and we have people set up in buildings too. But I am exclusively on the patrols of parking lots to sort of try to watch out for people who look like they're about to case laptops or, anything really. If I see anyone hurt, I'll report a traffic accident. But in terms of the actual infrastructure of UCLA for biking, it's pretty bike friendly. I think UCLA was named got some award for being one of the most bike friendly colleges. We have bike lanes everywhere. I know you can't bike on Bruin Walk itself, which is the central walkway that goes between North and South Campus. But everywhere else, I bike to class every day, and it's 10 minutes instead of 20 because UCLA is huge to take classes. So
yeah, it's a huge campus.
Yeah, but the roads are good though.
Good.
There's no it's not scary to ride around. I'm not afraid my wheels are going to get stuck in something.
Good. All right, well, we have another caller coming in shortly. Larissa, thank you so much. This is Larissa of BikeBeatsCar.com. Check it out. Is there anything else you want to say to wrap up real quick?
Just get on there and register. Check us out. Again, we'd love to have more participation. It's definitely not too late to sign up.
Great. All right, we'll do that. Thank you so much, and we look forward to hearing more about your bicycle advocacy in the future.
Thank you so much.
Okay, have a great day.
You too.
Well, that was another great caller. Larissa Klitsky is her name. Klitsky, and that's bikebeatscar.com. And here is another caller. Wow, our phone is ringing off.
And you're listening to BikeTalk on KPFK.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Arisha.
Hi, Arisha. This is April of Chicks on Bikes. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. What's going on?
Well, I just calling in.
Okay, and are you doing any rides this weekend? What's going on in your
Well,
bike
we're riding
world?
to a friend's wedding, which should be exciting. It's a friend who's part of the Bike Kitchen, so a lot
nice.
of people will be riding. Yeah.
You said you'll be riding to the wedding?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, cool.
With my
And
husband, we're going to do a tandem ride, actually.
is that a long ride? Short ride?
No, we're riding probably to Echo Park area, Silver Lake, and then afterwards downtown to Union Station. She's having her reception over there, so it'll be nice though with a group of people. It'll be fun.
Well, that sounds great.
Everyone will be dressed up with heels on, and at least the girls.
I am getting past a note here. What is your involvement in LA biking now that you've moved on from the LACBC?
Well, I've become more involved in sort of women on bikes, because I think often women are not represented as much, especially in the media, in our advocacy, in the credit that we get. So, I mean, it's a little bit more behind the scenes in terms of just what I'm noticing and the kind of appreciation and credit that women get versus men. And so that's something that I've become, it's always been on my mind, but now that I'm not sort of at LACBC having to represent an organization, it's just becoming more and more obvious to me that women need more, women have basically, I feel like, done so much for bicycling and bicycle advocacy in LA, and we don't get the credit that we deserve, I think. And this is probably a phenomenon that happens nationwide, but it's very obvious here in LA. And, if you talk to other women in the bike community and, doing advocacy, it's something that, like, we're constantly fighting against. So.
Right, yeah. Well, that's what this show is which is, I mean, I wouldn't say there's a feminist slant to my thought process behind the show, but just more celebrating women and bikes.
Exactly, celebrating
just owning that,
appreciation and empowerment, exactly. Feminism always has a bad connotation, even though it shouldn't. But I think the empowerment of women and, recognizing our role and celebrating it is great. It's necessary.
So do you have any plans are you going to put a women's group together, ride, or do you have any plans you want to share about this?
We've talked about doing rides. I'm actually in school right now, so I don't have time. I haven't had time, but I'm graduating soon, so perhaps that's going to be on my to-do list soon. So we'll see what happens, but definitely part of, encouraging people to write blogs and things like that. So it's sort of an idea phase. There are already people doing it, and it's a matter of just, either supporting and representing when I do have the opportunity to speak in public forums and in media, to just sort of highlight that element of it as well.
Sure. Well, we'd love to have you come in. I would love to have you as a guest if you are free. Doing this show the last Saturday of each month, you could come in and spend as much time as you want, just talking and expanding on on what it is the mission that we share.
Yeah.
So
we'll have to see time-wise, but.
So you're going to this wedding. That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Any other bike adventures planned for the summer?
Day by day, my adventures happen these days, so I'm not quite sure what other. I'm not doing any big rides, planned rides, other than that. So yeah.
What about music? Planning any shows?
Shows. We don't have anything planned. We may be playing on Monday at a work party, but nothing. Everything is sort of on hold, just so I can get through school. But so we're not doing any. I'm not doing much playing these days. I have to do I'm going to be doing a recording for a film, so I'm going to be working on that. So
Nick and I are planning a benefit for Bike Talk Radio. I guess we want to invite you. Not I guess, but we're just thinking right now we'd love for you guys to play, Telematique to play at our benefit if you're free. We don't have a date yet, but it's going to be a nice party this summer sometime.
Well, we would love to. Hopefully the date will work out because we may be traveling a little bit, but we would love to, always love to support Bike Talk and what you guys do over there.
Cool. That's excellent. Good news. Yay.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you wanted to share?
I just love that you guys are expanding and adding, the Chicks on Bike element. I think it's been needed and great. So keep it up, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks so much for your support. Enjoy your ride and the wedding, and have a lovely weekend.
Okay, you too.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
This is Bike Talk and KP for Kill Radio and KPFK on the web podcast. Webcast? Web podcast. Web podcast. Actually, she really defined that position over there at LACBC. Up until then, I have to be honest, it was just sort of like milquetoast. They had no kind of teeth to it until she got behind it, and it was like, you know what it was? I think it was the anonymity. You always knew that it was just a group of people, but you didn't know who was really down there until she got down there, and actually it was, you'd call up and it was her email.
She was like the Annie Londonderry of the LACBC?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, she was I don't mean incendiary person, but she was like the person that actually got things started there. I remember at least the last year or two that it really seemed like, hey, there's a person connected with all this change, which was actually really good. And I was sorry to see her move on a personal level. But anyway, we're now... Go ahead, April.
Oh, I think we're going to take a little musical break before our next caller calls in at 11:30. Thank you, everyone.
And just to tell everybody, last week, Kill Radio volunteered as part of their mission statement over at the Silver Lake Jubilee, and we're able to report that not only did we raise some much-needed funds for the station, but we met a lot of people, including some people that want to become future DJs and have their own shows here on Kill Radio. So look forward to that in the future. Yeah.
Right, but today's Chicks on Bikes,
Absolutely.
So we're sharing the studio, and we're having a whole lot of fun. And I want to thank all of my amazing call-ins. Such a great episode. Wow.
There's the phone again.
There's the red phone.
Good morning, Chicks on Bikes. This is April.
Hi, April. It's Jen.
Hi, Jen. Jen's calling for our Bay Area check-in. Jen was on our first episode of Chicks on Bikes. How are you today?
Hi. I'm doing great. Is Nick there?
Nick is here.
Hi, Nick.
And Chicken Mother's here, too.
Oh, hi, Chicken Mother. How you guys doing? Great. So I've been listening. Your show sounds awesome. I'm so excited about it. All these callers are fabulous.
Right? It's been a really great day. We miss you, though.
I know.
We wish you were here, but we're really happy that you're calling in to give us a shout-out in the Bay Area.
Absolutely. I wish I could be there, too.
So what's going on? How's the weather?
Oh, it's San Francisco. It's actually pretty nice. It's sunny. There wasn't too much fog this morning. Pretty nice.
Good riding weather?
I think so. It's probably be windy later. But for the most part, it's good riding weather.
The afternoon wind always picking up in San Francisco.
Definitely. Wow. So you had some really great things. I was really impressed with Peter, the author, and Londonderry.
Right? Isn't that an amazing story? I thought you would like her.
Totally. You know what? I hear it myself twice. Is there any way to stop that?
Yeah, turn down your computer.
I'm not in the same room. Let me see. I'll turn it down.
She's not in the same room. I think you have to turn it down, period.
How's that?
We don't hear echo. Do you still hear an echo?
Yeah, I still do.
Is it all good?
No, but I'll just go with it. Nice to hear myself twice, anyway.
What if you go in the kitchen?
I'm in the other room, actually. It's still happening. But the one thing I wanted to say that really struck me such a sweet image, when Peter was talking about using the bicycle as a recovery, and how he had that image of riding the tandem, invisible tandem with Andy.
Right.
So sweet. I had this immediate vision, total picture. Really sweet.
Yeah, it's really an amazing story. His website, Maybe I'll announce it again before we hang up, or I can get it. It's in my phone. The book is great. I've just started reading the book. I'll give it to you, and I'm done with it. But it's a really cool story, and I just love her approach to life and how she didn't take this whole journey so seriously in a time when, the collective cycling world was really growing, but she didn't even know how to ride a bike when she started.
Yeah.
She took a couple lessons.
That's awesome.
Isn't
That's
that great?
inspiring. You can do it. Anybody can do it. It's true. It's great. And just really cutting edge attitude, just that when he was talking about her use of sponsorship. What a great idea. Awesome.
Yeah, her sports-related marketing. Something we both are putting our toes into.
Definitely.
Yeah, super cool, right? I was just picturing this woman in wool knickers riding a fixed gear bike with tons of stickers all over her.
Totally. I mean, and that was a time when women wearing pants was still a new concept. Really amazing. We've come a long way since then, huh?
Can you imagine riding a bike with one of those big Victorian dresses on with all those
with the hoop skirts
and the layers? And
no, I can't.
She definitely needed some pedal panties.
Totally. And I still sometimes get caught up in my chains from time to time with the hoop skirt. My God, it can be dangerous.
So how's pedal panties?
Pedal panties is great. We're just doing some production on a new color, red, which is exciting for us.
Red panties. Everybody loves red panties. I have my pedal panties on right now.
And it's a great color red, too. really good. And we have the ruffle back panties. Those are doing well. Yeah, we're just kind of gearing up. We do a lot of events up here in the Bay Area, and we're kind of putting our events calendar together, which is fun. It's just fun to go to these bike events. I'll see all kinds of people. It's just always good. All kinds of people riding bikes.
Did you see the tour go through the Bay Area?
I didn't catch it, no, but I was following it. And that's just how amazing it has that exploded. The first year they barely publicized it just to kind of get it, I'm guessing, just to kind of work the kinks out. And it went through San Francisco and then through Sausalito, where I was working at the time. And it's just exciting, So maybe it'll be like a ladies' tour of California at some point.
Another good idea.
Another good idea, yeah.
So you have your event calendar together, or
no? We're putting it together. It's in the works.
It's in the works. Are there any events going on up there that you wanted to share that either you're involved with or not involved with?
Well, we're not really. We haven't finalized anything yet. So there's always some fabulous thing going on. In fact, last weekend was the Maker Faire. It's kind of interesting. This is like a topic that I'm like on the fence about. It's the whole electric bike thing.
Right.
Have you seen a lot of electric bikes popping up in LA?
I saw one recently. I'm glad you're bringing it up because I thought, that's interesting. You can have to cover so much mileage.
Yeah, and interestingly, like the purist in me at first was like, bah, electric bikes. But you know what? Then I started thinking about it, and if people are going to use it instead of their car to go do errands and whatnot, or get from here to there, like, great. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's more bike riding, less car driving.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool. But they had a whole bunch of electric bikes at the Maker Faire.
Oh,
Does the Maker Faire go to LA? Do you know?
I think it does come to LA. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it does. We should.
It's a cool event. I recommend going if you can.
We'll look it up.
Yeah. And we had our San Francisco Bike to Work Day the other week. That's always fun.
Did you bike to work that day?
Of course. Yeah.
Well, it could have been your day off. I mean.
I know. Actually, several years I've missed the Bike to Work Day because it's my day off, But unfortunately, I work the Thursday was a Bike to Work Day, and I don't start until 3. So I missed all of the pit stops, coffee and bagels and stuff. That's okay. It's still exciting. There's loads of people on the road, lots of cyclists, which is cool. Was it you who sent me a YouTube video of, it was like a accelerated video of cyclists, this one intersection, I think it was in Holland or something?
No.
Did you send me that?
I didn't.
Oh my gosh, it's great. It's awesome. It's just
I'd love to see it. Can you send it to me?
Yeah, let me see. I'll try and find it. But it's really cool. It's just so many bikes. It's like pick any intersection in LA for cars and switch them out for bikes. It's really cool. There's actually bike traffic going on in San Francisco. I think I read somewhere that there's like a 60% increase in people riding bikes in San Francisco.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, the SF Bicycle Coalition is doing a really great job. Every time I get on the road, it seems like there's another, what do they call it? They're like dedicated lanes, or like they paint the ground green, and there's often like a barrier between the cars and the cyclists.
Oh,
really
I don't want to
difference.
encourage you to be unsafe, but maybe you could take some of those pictures from the sidewalk and email them to me, and I'll put them on the Chicks on Bikes Facebook page.
Oh, totally, yeah. And they're doing such a good job. But LA Bicycle Coalition, is that what it's called there? They're doing great work, too. LA is growing so fast for cycling.
Chicken Lover's shaking his head. He has a...
Which way?
He's
up and down or left to right?
Left to right. Now he's doing diagonal. Now he's laughing.
Is he having a seizure?
Yes, he's having a little tiny... No, he's not. We shouldn't make fun of seizure. People have seizures.
He's not impressed, huh?
Do you want to comment on that? He's going to comment.
In the last few weeks, Los Angeles and Metro have had a fight over whether to make Leimert Park, which is an historical section of Los Angeles, but it's economically depressed, and of course it's black too. So there's been all this back and forth kind of rhetoric over why they're not letting Metro do a station there. And in fact, they were talking about funding the Expo line, which was going to increase some traffic as a corridor between the east and the west, is now not on hold, but it's been delayed now for yet another year. I remember 2-3 years ago during Bike Week riding the route and finding it very nice, but now they're talking about, for safety for kids, maybe putting in an underground system near some of the high schools, specifically Dorsey High. Okay, I'm going to let you get back to April now.
Thanks, Big Mother.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for the break. I got to have some water. Would you be interested in telling us a little bit about your experience with getting into cyclocross in the Bay Area over the last year?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, so cyclocross, I learned about it just a few years ago, and immediately was fascinated. But if you ever watch a race, they look kind of gnarly. They look kind of intimidating. It looks like pain and suffering, but it also looks really fun, if that makes any sense. And so last season, finally, I just, got it together and said, I'm doing it.
Uh-huh.
And I started with the clinic. The Vela Girls offered a clinic, which was really helpful. And then I did my first season last year. It was really super fun, and I actually used a mountain bike. And so I'm in the market to buy a cyclocross bike, which is very exciting to add my arsenal of bikes here. But yeah, it's really fun. It's really, and the more I learn about it, the more I find a lot of women who are doing it too, which is really exciting and great. And actually, the cyclocross single speed worlds are being hosted in San Francisco this November.
Oh.
Yeah.
Great. Maybe we'll make a trip up there and do a remote broadcast.
Definitely. So.
Okay.
I think it's like one of the most, what do you call it? Like a fast-growing in popularity sport. Especially, I think, in the Portland area, where they have to close. They have a limited number of people that can register because the courses are just, they can't accommodate so many people.
Right.
Which means there's more people that want to do it than there are space to do it, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
That's not the case in San Francisco just yet.
Who's the group that you were riding with last season?
I was just kind of racing solo, not associated with a team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Not
okay,
yet.
so it's easy
I'm
to
a free
do that.
agent.
Free agent.
I'm marketing myself for the team, so anybody who's interested, get in touch.
So, but it was easy for you to not be part of a group and still
It
compete?
was, definitely. I mean, I think it would be nice to be part of a team because there's that group support and there's people to train with and ride with. But yeah, it was really easy. I mean, they make it pretty easy. You just show up on the day and register, and they kind of walk you through it, and then the gun goes off and off you go.
What's the entry level course like?
So it's the same. They're all the same courses, and it's laps basically. So the races are timed. So it's either 30 minutes, 45 minutes, or 60 minutes. And so the gun goes off, and you go lap after lap after lap, and then when the leaders pass the start, kind of close to the end time, they shoot the gun. That's the gun lap, and then everyone just finishes. So they do time it, but it's more like first place, second place, third place, that sort of thing.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was really fitting. My best race, I finished fourth. Really
yes, I remember that. It was a big
for
deal.
women's C's, which is intro level, which is great. We get to race with the junior boys and girls, which is kind of interesting. There's 15-year-olds, they pass me, I pass them.
Makes it
kind of
fun.
humbling.
adds another level of energy to it.
Yeah, definitely. But it's a great way to start because it is intimidating, getting off the bike, getting on the bike, going over the barriers. But there's kids on the course too, so you're like, hey, if they can do it, I can do it. It's kind of a nice way to get rolling into the whole sport.
So if somebody wanted to get into the sport, what advice would you give them?
Oh, I think absolutely start with a clinic. Because it's something you can figure out on your own, but with a clinic, it's just so much easier. They kind of break down how to do it, basically, and what you need to do, what you can expect, and that's definitely. I felt so much more confident after the clinic than before. But there's so many groups online, and training rides and stuff. So. Or they can call in on Chicks on Bikes radio show, and we'll answer all their questions.
Right. Exactly. We want to give you a pedal panties plug. Can you tell people where to get some pedal panties?
Absolutely, yeah. So our best retailer right now is an online retailer called Panty Salad. Panty Salad. Oh, they're so great. And they've actually ordered some red pairs and some ruffle back pairs, which only come in black, actually. But you can get them. They should be receiving those in the next couple of weeks. So, pantysalad.com. You can see a 360 view of the panties. Check it out.
Cool.
Yeah, awesome.
Well, I know we want to let you get on to starting your day. Is there anything else you wanted to, or continuing your day, I guess. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we let you jump?
Well, I really just want to thank Nick and BikeTalk for having us, and KPFK. Really awesome. I'm just so excited for the opportunity to have this venue for Chicks on Bikes for us to talk about our stuff. I'm so excited. Thank you again so much.
Yes, likewise. I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you, Nick, and thank you, Chicken Leather. All right,
and I wish I was there. Oh, wait, one thing I wanted to ask you is the benefit for Bike Talk. I want to go. So as soon as you get dates, let me know. I want to come down for it.
Okay. Well, we're working on all of that. Hopefully end of July.
Okay, cool.
I think is what we're playing around with. So, yay, more Jen. Maybe we can time it around a show, and you could come and be on the show again.
That would be awesome. I would love that.
All right, my dear. Have a great
weekend. Thanks again. Have a great day. Have a great holiday weekend.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye.
And you are listening to Bike Talk here on Kill Radio and KPFK on the Pod webcast.
I think we're going to have another musical break right now.
Everybody let me see you start a new race. Get real comfortable. You fit them on the pedal. And everybody when your body bass do the treble. And everybody now, we whining anyhow. You dance for the people them. Messing me from Trinidad. Spontaneous, let me go. Cause everybody wants to see the new brand show. The new dance, bicycle wine. New dance, bicycle wine. New dance, bicycle wine. From the front and all behind. New dance, bicycle wine. New dance, bicycle wine. New dance, bicycle from the front and all behind. So pedal back, pedal back, pedal back, pedal back, pedal back, pedal back, pedal back. Say just like that. Pedal front, pedal front, pedal front, pedal front, pedal front, pedal front, pedal front. Do what you mean. When you talk about dance, it's not only dance hall. Cause when it comes to
Hi, we're back. We're almost done with the show.
Bike Talk.
Boy, this has been great. So Nick is reading this bike blog called Flying on the Seat of My Pants. You can check it out at flyingontheseatofmypants.blogspot.com. And I want to ask him a few questions about this blog. It's a woman, and she's a cyclist, and take it away.
Well, her name is Michelle Appel, and I found her through my Facebook, through Bike Talk's Facebook. And she's on the way to Arizona, and she goes She's just writing about the last ride she did, which was 113 miles up a mountain, and then she had a 20-mile all downhill part, and it just sounds cool.
And
she saw a mountain lion.
Where is she going on this journey?
To visit her family and friends in Phoenix.
Okay. And is she by herself?
Yes.
And what kind of adventures is she having?
Well, there was a sign at one campsite that said, they're treating the hikers that have been scratched or bitten by a mountain lion for rabies.
Oh.
And then she saw a mountain lion. And, I don't know. I don't know if I can really capture the blog.
It's okay. We're going to ask you more questions. So Michelle Appel, maybe we can get Michelle to call in.
I messaged her, so maybe she'll get back to us.
So do you know what kind of bike she's riding?
Let's see. I think that's her in the middle. Let's see.
We're looking at
Here's her bike.
At the blog as we...
A Surly.
Oh, she's riding a 2011 Surly Crosscheck. Okay, let's read her entry.
Here's everything she has.
I'm riding this is great. Let me read this. I'm riding a 2011 Surly Crosscheck I have since streamlined with one handlebar bag, and the sleeping pad and bag fit with everything else into 2 panniers. One of them is this awesome backpack pannier thingy from Ortlieb. I love it. I have with me, here's her list, map, notebook, phone, camera, lights, U and cable lock, first aid kit, Allen key set, wrench, levers, tubes, lube, toothbrush, wash scrubby, camp towel, sunscreen, tank top, capri pants with riding short briefs, cycling shorts, a t-shirt, pants, and a top base layer, cook pot, stove, cup, utensil set, tent, sleeping bag, pad, lightweight, oatmeal chill mix, usually beans and veggies of some sort, water, usually at least a gallon, postcard making materials, though I haven't had the time yet. All total, her weight is 35 pounds.
That's it?
Seems really low, doesn't it?
Yeah. What about fuel for the stove? She didn't really say.
Yeah, she didn't mention her fuel.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she's an inspiration to me. I want to get into do some touring when I get this bike. Looks like she took off from from Southern California.
Yeah.
There's a picture of Michelle next to the beach. Looks like maybe that was her first ride.
Like Manhattan Beach or something.
Manhattan Beach. Cool. So, you plan on getting into doing some bike camping?
Maybe.
Yeah?
I guess.
Do you know where you'd go? Because I don't really know where I'd go yet. I'm just kind of entertaining the idea of...
East?
Do I drive somewhere and then ride? Or do I leave from my home?
Yeah, good question.
Because LA's really big and it's not very pretty.
Well,
It's a really controversial
statement. It is pretty controversial. But it's not long to get out of LA, though. I mean,
it's true.
Get out of it in in an hour.
East, so you'd want to go to the desert?
Well, her ride sounds nice.
Well, it's very hot.
But
I was just in Arizona and it's really hot.
I could, is it possible to ride at night, and you think, and just sleep during the day?
Yeah, I think if you have lights, sure. Absolutely.
Okay, so then there's north and south. You can't go west.
Right. You can. Well, you could. I mean, yeah. We could just go to Santa Monica, and then we have to camp somewhere in Santa Monica. It would be that'd be a good starter trip.
Yeah.
If there's nowhere to camp in Santa Monica.
Well, they have a really liberal homeless policy.
Well, there's Dockweiler Beach. That's a beautiful ride, by the way. Carpinteria. Thornhill Broom. There's another campground that's... Oh, phone call. That's not our red phone.
That was a good show today.
It was a good show today.
Yeah,
so I guess I would wrap up and say some thanks to all of our callers. Again, I'm going to thank them individually. So, Letitia Zavala from Flying Pigeon, amazing. Thank you for being so positive, and you really started off the show with great energy, and your shop rocks, and you rock, and thanks for the call in. And then, who did we have? And then we had Peter.
Yeah.
And then we had Peter Zeitlin, who is the great-grand nephew of Annie Londonderry, and his book is called Around the World on Two Wheels, and I've just started reading it, but I think everyone should have this. I'm sharing my copy, so I can't share it with anyone else, but get this book. It's great. It's a super fun read. After Peter, so thank you, Peter, and he has a great website. You can check out his website, and I guess he's available for speaking engagements too. Then we had Larissa, who was talking about her Bike Beats Car campaign. She has an amazing website, actually. So go on her website and sign up to do the bicycle commuting challenge. And then we had Orisha, and Orisha was kind enough to call in and ad-lib. And thank you so much for sharing our philosophy behind the show, for calling in. Orisha, thank you. Enjoy your weekend. And then we had Jen, and Jen is our Bay Area check-in, and she has a nice company called Pedal Panties. Pedal Panties are a lovely cycling panty. I have mine on now. I rode my bike here. They make your commuting so much more comfortable, and you can find them at pedalpanties.com. That's it for me.
They don't have men versions, too.
No, they don't have men panties yet, but I think I don't know what's in the plans for them. I can't speak for her, but they know they get asked that a lot. Mm-hmm. No, maybe you could get a large pair. I don't know.
No, I don't know.
So thanks, everyone, for an awesome episode of Chicks on Bikes #2. Please check out our Facebook page. It's brand new, and there's 2 Facebook pages for Chicks on Bikes, but I'll try to resolve that somehow. I don't know. Make sure you look for the one that's the radio show community page based out of Los Angeles. And you can send me messages there if you want to be on the show. Just email me.
How are you going to resolve that?
I don't know how I'm going to resolve that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Numbers?
There's 2 pages. Yeah, it's weird. Well, we'll have to fix it. I'll fix it somehow. I don't know. Or we'll just live with it.
Absolutely.
Numbers? Did you say something about numbers?
No, I was just thinking that there's a couple of rides specifically tomorrow. The Chupacabras tomorrow. That's noon real time, not noon hipster time, over at Atomic Cycles in their parking lot. All sorts of events, including the promised, trailer park extravaganza ride, demolition derby, battle royale, and of course a community bike ride around the valley. So that's tomorrow. And then a week from tomorrow is what? Why, of course, it's the LA River Ride. That's going on. It's not their Fun Day Sunday. It's everyone's Fun Day Sunday. And they're actually looking for volunteers. Martin is available at volunteerla.org or at the website through the LACBC. You can get a hold of him. Also, tomorrow is, and I'm just going to plug the Bike Oven just briefly. REI is having a thing where if you bring your bike into one of their stores, I think it's Arcadia, and there's also one going on today, I think, for Bikerwave out in, I want to say Northridge, but one of their other REIs, and you can check on REI, their website, to find out which one is closest. They're having, if you bring in your bike, they give you a percentage off on a new bike, and the Bike Collective gets the old bike. So
nice. That's great.
Tomorrow, the Bike Oven is going to be the recipient of this niceness. If you have a bike and you're thinking of getting a new one, you might want to consider looking at REI's stock and think about doing that. And that's it for me. I know that Culver City has got a fun ride, and you can always check that out. I think they have a link on the LACVC, and of course, Midnight Riders. So there you go.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, April.
You're welcome.
Thanks, April.
You're welcome.
And you're listening to Bike Talk on KPFK, on the web podcast, and of course, killradio.org.
I think there's a whole lot of technology.
I